This clip is brought to you by VegasWinners.com. Get expert sports betting advice from some of the best handicappers in the world. Head on over to VegasWinners.com and win yourself some money.
You weren't there in WCW when all the controversy happened with Bill, but been a lot written about him. He did an interview with Wade Keller that certainly did him no favors. That, you know, every now and again we say on the show, boy, that didn't age well, but he said some shit that just shouldn't have been said ever. So we're not defending that, but I am trying to, because Bill has always been, I don't know, it seems like a complicated man. We're both friendly with JR, who thinks a lot of Bill Watts and thought he was all business and he learned a lot from Bill, et cetera, et cetera. And then you hear his top star was JYD. And you also hear that one of his right-hand guys and one of his bookers was Ernie Ladd. But then you read this stuff or you hear this stuff secondhand and you think, how's that the same guy? How do you reconcile all of that?
I think that, again, a lot of times you're a product of your environment, and you have to go back to living in the 50s and 60s where Bill lived and how Bill was brought up in this business. This country was a different country. And while it may not excuse things, it explains things. And for those who haven't lived it, it's hard. It's hard for them to understand and realize, well, how could you ever think that? I said, hey man, on the news, everything around you is this way. We've come so far and still have so far to go in this country as far as just treating everybody the same. No different than how I've talked about it on this show, just looking at homosexuals. And I was a homophobe until my best friend was a homosexual who I loved to death. And it's, wait a minute.
Just wasn't part of your experience before.
Just wasn't, no, because I was ignorant. And I think it's silly now when other people have the uneducated views. And I try to put on the hat that I wore at one time and say, all right, they just need to educate. They need to get outside of their comfort zone and realize that everybody puts on their pants the same way. Everybody farts. And just people are people, and let people be people. I think that Bill, in the environment in which he was raised, in which he did business, first of all, Bill came from a perspective of a bully.
Right.
Bill bullied his way into everything.
And you saw that firsthand.
100%.
Okay.
Oh God, 100%. And it was.
Can you give us an example of that? Can you give me an example of him sort of, because we've all heard that as wrestling fans, but I think a lot of us assume it's because A, he was the boss, and B, he was such a big individual, but you saw actual situations. Can you share one?
Yeah. I've seen Bill take guys and put them against the wall and get in their face. Me. He's done it to me. Put me against the wall and get in my face with his finger in my face and berate me until he was beat red and tell me what a horrible piece of shit I was and I would never amount to anything. And you're a stupid fucking kid. And it's just demoralizing in a lot of respects. But I watched him do it to talent. I watched him do it to people in restaurants. Bill came from a bully perspective.
When you say restaurants, you mean he would like bully a server?
Yeah, or yes. Rude to the waitress, talk down to them. Came in my house, kicked off his shoes and put his feet on my kitchen table. Now, me as a guy,
you don't care.
And when there's 3 guys sitting there working, writing TV and booking, I didn't give a shit.
No.
When my wife came home, she goes, hey, that's my kitchen table. Get your filthy feet off my kitchen table. He did, but then he had comments about it after she left the room. Like, who the hell she thinks she is? I said,
so that happened in the WWF, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's my wife that lives here, that
Yeah.
this is our table where we eat, and then I've got to defend her. And it's just, he could be very rude and very demeaning.
Oh, man. So one of these times, as you skipped right to it, the whole talent trade happens in Memphis. Bill Dundee comes in. Who had the book prior to Bill coming in? That'd have been Ernie Ladd?
I think it was Ernie. Yes, it was Ernie.
So Ric Flair and Kerry Von Erich headline a Superdome show in August of 84. Magnum TA Star is on the rise. Of course, Rock and Roll Express and Midnight Express are putting the woods on fire. And it's crazy to say, at this point, Bill Watts in 1985 plans on expanding nationally, and he's going to get a show on TBS. You were not yet with the WWF, but I'm sure that Vince couldn't have been all too happy with that. What do you remember about Watts getting on TBS?
Oh, I think that Bill was looking at any weakness there that he could find in any opportunity. And I think that Turner was looking at having some kind of wrestling on versus that WWF stuff. So it was a great opportunity for Bill, but an expensive one too. And they were great shows. They really were.
It's interesting to think about what could have been. Do you think if Watts would have done the TBS deal a few years earlier, it would have made a difference? By 85, Vince had too much of a lead on everybody. What do you think?
Possibly. But again, yeah, that's hindsight. I think that Bill would have had a better chance. Yes.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.